Kodansha, the largest publisher in Japan. And we're the people behind Akira, Ghost in the Shell, Battle Angel Alita, Attack on Titan, and Sailor Moon. More recently, Vinland Saga and Initial D, which is not new, but we do have a new edition that's doing very well for us. It's one of our top-selling titles. I'm here with my colleague, Helen Guo. She's our new head of sales and marketing. She was my lifeline at Comixology. I'm very happy to bring her on board as our newest member of the Kodansha USA team.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to be here.
We're both really. I'm really happy to be here at MCM. This is, I think, my second time here, basically here as part of our renewed efforts to for the U.S. team to shore up support for our UK's side of the business. So I'm really glad to have this opportunity to meet you all and to meet with our partners at Diamond UK. Next slide. So, I think as many of you are aware, manga's been around a while. It has become something of an explosive cultural force, I think, in the last several years. And our business has changed quite significantly as a result of the growth that we're seeing globally around manga and anime. This slide here is just a little peek into sort of how we at Kodansha sort of look at sort of the manga cultural landscape, just from a marketing point of view. If you look at this as sort of an axis with kind of casual engagement with manga down to sort of deeper engagement. It's on the vertical axis, and then on the horizontal axis, it's sort of kind of more of an escapist or sort of personal engagement with manga, and sort of more of a communal, active engagement. So that if you look at the four quadrants here, it's sort of manga is kind of passive entertainment in the top left-hand corner. Manga is more of kind of a cultural capital, or sort of a, how should I say, like kind of a cool product, like t-shirts or sneakers. In the top right hand, lower is sort of what we think of as like lower left hand, sort of people who buy like collected limited editions, and then on the bottom right-hand corner there is sort of what we think of, I think, when we see the community that we're seeing downstairs in terms of the active communal engagement at a very deep level. And it's sort of kind of how we started, how we're seeing the sort of global manga community evolve.
We're turning up our marketing support to our retailers as a publisher. So we started doing more shelf toppers, bookmarks, and character cards. We actually brought some physical copies if you want to stop by and take a look. We understand that there are a lot of manga out there, and it's hard for every retailer to know what's out there. So we are hoping these little promotional items can help you understand our priority titles better and in a faster way. So these are the shelf toppers. You can just fold them and put on your shelf. We start off with Blue Lock, Attack on Titan, and a Sign of Affection. And the blank one for you to write down if you have any recommendations as a staff. Bookmarks and some character cards. Very well made and welcomed by our fans as well. The other idea I want to run by all of you actually is some pre-packs. We're doing that in the USA for our retailers. Most of them will be like volume ones of our titles that we know are doing well for retailers. So if you're interested in the pre-pack idea, let your sales rep know, please.
So we actually are really happy. We got a couple of Eisner Award nominations this year. First up is River's Edge by an author that we've been working with for several years, Kyoko Okazaki. This was nominated for the Best U.S. Edition of International Material, so this is basically our sort of the main manga category for the Eisners. It's a story about growing up. It's kind of an adolescent slice of life drama. It's contained in a single volume, which I think will work well with your stores. It's something that we're actually seeing more of a demand for, as you know, a lot of mangas are long-running serials. I think this is one that'll really work well as a self-contained volume. The other one that was nominated for Best Humor Series is one of our new releases, The Yakuza's Bias. This is a K-pop kind of tie-in manga. It's actually a mashup of the world of Yakuza and the world of K-pop, and the sort of humorous interaction that takes place therein. And that's the volume 2 cover.
I also want to have a few call out to the spring anime season. As you know, there is a big overlap between manga fans and anime fans. In the spring season that is ongoing right now, starting April, there are, so A Sign of Affection is the first one, actually starting winter time, and this one's been doing really well. The latest volume, which is volume 8, has been doing well for us, and also the Omnibus Volume 1, which contains Volume 1 to 3, has been going strong as well. This is a very wholesome story, very well made anime.
Yeah, it's a romance manga about a differently abled girl who's deaf. So really very well researched, very well well done representation of disability and exploration of that world in a romantic context.
These are a few other romance titles, from more like wholesome story to more steamy story on the right side. The next one, action representation. In the spring anime season, I want to do a call to Windbreaker. Like just down the show at our booth, Windbreaker, we have a big back job and been drawing a lot of attention.
We sold out downstairs, yeah.
Right. It's a great story. A group of boys, kind of bad boys with great heart, trying to protect their own neighborhood, their own town. Story, action-packed. And then the next one is like we have The Fable. Yes, this is an action comedy. Sesson take 1 year sabbatical and trying out some normal life. In anime, the omnibus editions are going strong as well. The next page, we have a few important mentions that we want to call out.
Should I go? Yeah, just one more thing about Windbreaker before is that was the anime debut back in April, and it's been pretty clear that's been the breakout anime of the season, and so of the new series, that's the one that we're really seeing sales pop on both the print and digital side. If you're carrying Tokyo Revengers, it's a very good comp title for that series, Windbreaker. A couple of new releases that we are seeing a lot of velocity on recently. The Vinland Saga Deluxe Edition, which we see is comparable to Berserk, that Dark Horse releases as a high prestige collectible edition of our the renowned sort of Viking manga that really took off in popularity in the last year when the anime made it onto Netflix. And then also very happy to see very, very strong sales on our Initial D omnibus. Initial D was it's the it is the foundational street racing manga about drifting culture that like the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift is largely based on. The Tokyo Pop had released Initial D back in the 90s, and we had released a digital edition more recently, but there hadn't been a new translation. So this is a brand new translation, completely, I guess I would say, remastered artwork. And we're seeing a lot of it, although it's an old title, it's actually one of the best selling of our newer titles. And then we'll also in the fall be releasing our classical music, or I should say a romance based around classical music students, Yorlai in April. This was a hit anime and manga from several years ago, but there was a recent short run of a music theatrical version in London recently that did very well. It was very well reviewed, and they'll actually be coming back this summer for a longer engagement, and be timed very nicely with the release of the omnibus edition this fall.
Yeah, so fall we're going to have a lot of activations for Blue Lock, this IP from product, and we're excited to see the first spin-off episode of Blue Lock, episode Nagi, is coming out in October. This October.
Should I talk about this one? A new effort that we've been trying out recently is actually debuting manga series in English rather than in Japanese. There's been a handful of series, Bloodblade, which recently has 2 volumes out. It's a twist on the classic Universal monsters like Frankenstein and the werewolf and Dracula, reimagined as Japanese high school girls. These series we're actually we're debuting them in English before they appear in Japanese, and serializing them chapter by chapter on the Kodansha.us website. Been a lot of buzz and obviously excitement about the fact that they're being seen for the first time in English. And one of the series that has really performed well, at least in terms of views on the website, is Reanima. It's a dystopian science fiction story about set in sort of an environmental disastrous future, and the first volume of that will be coming out in December. The Tank Chair is a kind of another dystopian science fiction. This one's sort of more of a kind of comedic, kind of wild premise about a hero who's confined to a wheelchair, but that wheelchair is outfitted in the deadliest possible manner. It's probably a good comp is actually Chainsaw Man in terms of just sort of the vibe and feel and sort of the real kind of off-kilter quality to it, and that's coming out this fall in September.
This year we already got its own fan base in the digital release.
Lastly, one of the more offbeat romance titles that we released past few years was Sweat and Soap, about a kind of an office romance set in a perfume company. I'll leave it at that for now. That's actually developed. That series has developed quite a following on TikTok. Actually, it's really, despite not having a major anime release, has really taken off as one of our best-selling romance titles. And this Home Office Romance is another office romance taken by the same author of Sweat and Soap. And this is set to debut in November this year.
So want to circle back to anime schedule. past 2 seasons, including the one that's on right now, we see A Sign of Faction, The Fable, Go-Go Loser Ranger, season 3 of The Slime Story, and Windbreaker. Coming up in July, we're going to have Fairy Tail 100 Year Crest. This is the spin-off series of the Fairy Tail very action-packed series. And then also coming up in fall, we're going to have season 2 of Blue Lock. So season 2 of Blue Lock, the anime picks up at volume 12 of the main series.
A couple other notable anime are Nina the Starry Bride. That's another girls' romantasy manga that's developed quite a following already through the digital releases. And also Medalist, which is an anime we'll be debuting in the winter. That's about very wholesome, kind of children-suitable manga about figure skating. And that has also started to develop somewhat of a fan base as well.
Also, season 2 of Shangri-La Frontier. That's another one that ties very closely with the manga side. It's been well received by the fans. Season 2 is coming up in the fall as well. Oh yeah. Yeah. Mention about these. Yes. And any questions? Can look for us afterwards. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.